Hi, Steve Mills here, and it's great to be back on my podcast. Getting really into podcasting now, just about managing to do it every day, and it's always good, to share ideas and ways and strategies to help other people. And I really do believe in trying to give a bit back. We're all, certainly in this country, very lucky, and we're able to do things and live a lifestyle that, people in other countries can only even dream of. So, it's great to give a bit back. And today I wanted to talk to you about, really, I suppose, essentially, it's about getting the best out of yourself and your business. Now, I come from a background as a former international sportsman, having played table tennis professionally for over 10 years. And one thing I can tell you about anybody who's been really good at sport, and that is that they're very, very dedicated to improving the effectiveness of each and every element of their game. Now, how does this affect your business? Well, if business is a game, and you've got various shots, if you will, or skills that you need, then your job as a business owner is to improve the effectiveness of them. In other words, to accelerate your results, the results that you're getting in your business. Now, if you look at any business, there are always three departments to a business. There's operations, doing the work. There's finance, managing the money, and there's sales and marketing, selling the stuff. Now, one of the biggest problems that I see, particularly with small business owners who can't really afford to get the level of expertise in all three departments, and the biggest problem is that they're not experts and they've not got a high enough level of skill and knowledge in the two areas that they're not trained in. What do I mean? I mean that, generally speaking, when somebody starts a business, they start a business because they're operationally proficient. They know how to do the work that the business does. So I'll give you an example. So a hairdresser opens her own hairdressing salon, or his own hairdressing salon, believing that because they've been a hairdresser for over 20 years, then that qualifies them to run a business that does hairdressing. A garage mechanic decides, I'm fed up of working for this jerk that I've been working for 10 years. I'm going to do this myself. I can do a better job than the owner of the business. So again, he opens up his own garage or MOT station or whatever it is, believing falsely, because he can do the work, he can repair cars or service cars, that he can run a business that does that work. A solicitor, believing because they're a good solicitor, they've been in practice for 20 years, believes that because they're good at doing the work, that they can run a business that does that work. And do you know what? It simply isn't true. Because, if there are three departments to a business, if you're not on the ball from a financial point of view, if you don't understand the numbers in your accounts, if you're not good at debt collecting, if you don't invoice people on time, if your financial systems in your business and HR systems in your business, going to put that department within finance, that's going to come back and bite you on the arse. It really is. It's going to affect your business. And I know that because that's not my expertise. And, I'm over the last couple of years, I've been focusing more and more of my time and effort learning about the financial side of my business, getting a better understanding than I have before. I'm still, certainly no expert, and, my business is big enough that I can afford a top quality accountant to help me, and I've got a bookkeeper and so on and so forth. But what I don't want to do is just, abdicate that and just go, oh, well, you guys deal with that. I'll wake up 6 months later and find, things are not quite where I would like them to be. So I've got to be on the ball financially. The other area, quite obviously, is sales and marketing. If you're, serious about growing your business, then you've got to be serious about improving your sales and marketing. Because if you don't, you won't. It's as simple as that. The only way to increase profit, there's two ways actually. One is you can reduce costs, and the other is you can increase sales. Now, you can only reduce costs by a small amount, but you can increase sales by really an infinite amount. And so you need to think about what do you want to increase sales by, and then set up a plan in order to do that. But the one thing you probably will have to do is to become more effective, become better at selling and marketing your products and services. Now, I see so many businesses, that I meet at networking events and, when I go speaking at events and things like that, say to me, well, I'm responsible for sales, Steve. And I say, well, when was the last time you did any sales training? And they say, well, I've never done any. I don't know, for a couple of years. It's just not good enough. In fact, I've got to say, it's shit. You're running a business, you're employing a person, to run a business, to be responsible for selling, and you can't even be asked to go and do some sales training to become better at making money for yourself. Why on earth not? I do sales training every day. Every day. Never don't do it. 8:30 to 9 o'clock. Every day is sales training. And, I strongly implore, I beseech you to do the same. You've got to do what I said right at the beginning. You've got to raise your game. You've got to become better than you were at selling and marketing your products and services. If you want to do better, if you're happy with what you've got, then, switch my podcast off right now. There's no point listening to this stuff. Because this is for people who want to grow their business. This is for people who are committed to taking action to become better than they used to be. So let's have a little look at some examples of things that you could potentially improve. A lot of people that I meet in small businesses spend far much time and rely far too heavily on networking. And they think it's almost like the Holy Grail. BNI is everything. Chamber of Commerce is everything. 4N. Oh, if I'm in 4N, then, I'm going to make millions and millions of pounds. And again, it simply isn't true. Nothing against any of those organizations. They can all work really well. But just look around the room. The vast majority of people in those events are not multimillionaires. They're there because they're scratching around trying to win business. The big problem with networking is, you've got a room full of people, maybe 50 people in the room, and you've got 50 people who are there in the hope that, they can sell something. The big problem is you've got nobody who's there in the hope that they can buy anything. And here lies the problem. Now, networking organizations will tell you, it's not the people in the room that, you're trying to get to, it's the people that they know. Well, when was the last time you won some business from somebody you didn't know? So, what really matters is the quality of the relationships that you've got with those people. So, what we need to do really is to think about a strategy for it. What is our plan? Starts with what is our goal? How much business do you want to try to win from going to networking events in the next year? How much? Is that 50 grand? 500 grand? What's your target? Okay, so once you know that, is the next thing to think about is where you're going to go. Which events? Where are your target market? Not what's the closest, what's the easiest, and how can I eat the most breakfast? Think about where are your target market? Where do they go? And then we've got to get our arse over to those networking events, whether that's getting up early, staying late in the evening, sacrificing some work time being there, but we've got to be there, and we've got to be there consistently. There's no point going along once or twice. We've then got to think about, how do we look when we go there? How do we present ourselves? What information have we got? If you've got some battered old business card, then, that's probably not the best way of doing it. If you're there in a pair of old scruffy old jeans, you may not be presenting yourself in the way that you could or should. And what are you going to say when you get there? When somebody says, tell me, what do you do? What's your answer to that? Whatever it is, could it be better? Could you come with a better answer? Could you ask them some questions? What are the questions you're going to ask when you go to the next networking event? What are the opportunities for you to stand up at the front and become a speaker? The positioning of that is far, far more powerful than being one of 50. You're the one at the front that everybody's come to listen to. So, that can be a really, really powerful positioning of you and your business. What about follow-up? Because this is one of my real, I just do not get it. Somebody's come along, they've spent their time, they've spent maybe a little bit of money, they've put some effort into it. They've met me, they've said hi, and we've had a conversation, and that conversation's ended. We've exchanged business cards, and 99% of the time, unless I do something, that's the last time they ever see me. I beseech you to follow these people up. Follow them up by email, by letter, by phone call. Invite them to something. What is the way you could build your relationship? Could you invite them to a seminar? Could you invite them to an event? Could you send them a program? Could you tell them about a video you've produced? Could you send them a report that you've done? We're not really ready yet, probably, to sell them something, but I'm sure you could send them something in order to nurture and in order to build rapport and in order to build your relationship with them. Perhaps you could go and buy a book called How to Network Effectively and send it them and just say, I got this book. It was great to meet you. Thought you might find it interesting. I've read it and thought it was really good. I hope it helps you with your networking. All of a sudden, you're inducing the law of reciprocation, which is one of the 6 key human tools that you can use to influence people. And this person's already in your debt. They've sent you a book, and so when you send them a book, you can much easier to make that phone call and get that meeting and so on and so forth. So I've not really got any more time today to go on further, but I'm sure you get the idea. There's loads of little what I call KPIs, key performance indicators, key things that you could do to improve the effectiveness of you and your company when you and it go out networking. So, take action. And if you want to know more from me about how I can help you with your, and we'll put a plan together to improve and develop the sales and marketing that you're doing. So thanks ever so much for listening. If you want to book that meeting, and I strongly recommend you do, then what you need to do is to go to www.stevemills.co. Thanks very much for listening.